Hello, I'm Rob, and coming up on R&B Reviews, I'm going to be looking at Disney's reboot of the classic character, the Lone Ranger. Now, is this movie really a dud, or does it have some entertainment value? I will share my thoughts with you coming right up. Silver away! The Lone Ranger is a classic character about a man in the Old West who wears a mask, rides a horse named Silver, and has a Native American companion named Tonto. And together, they fight for justice. They destroy criminals that get in the way of good, and standing up for what is right. The character itself originally began as a radio show character back in the 1930s before being adapted for so many things: movie serials, comic books, movies, even a popular TV show starring Clayton Moore that was very, very successful with younger audiences, kind of like the old Superman show. And I don't know if you can tell from where you're at, but this poster advertises two classic radio shows. Right here is The Lone Ranger and The Shadow. With this movie, this time the Social Network's Armie Hammer steps into the boots and mask, and Johnny Depp plays his sidekick as well as producing the film. Now, so far a lot of critics have been bashing the movie while it's kind of following with some audience members, but so far it hasn't been doing very well at the box office. Now, is The Lone Ranger a horrible movie? I don't think so. Is it the greatest movie so far this summer? I don't think so. But is it a movie worth a few laughs, characters to root for, and some action? I say on that level, yes. What surprised me was that unlike a lot of other summer blockbuster movies in the past, the movie took its time to develop its characters, and we get to see a lot of background as a result. I think this really helped me care about Tonto and the Ranger, and also, I was expecting a huge action-oriented, fest where there's a lot of, music video, quick cut editing, and showy special effects, but instead, I was treated to a slower-paced character and story-oriented film, and while the movie had its share of suspenseful action segments, they were not usually the main focus of the film, but they did complement the picture very well. The photography I thought was very beautiful to look at, and I was very happy that it was shot on excellent locations to add some level of realism, and I truly believe that I was in the Old West and not on a movie set. The cast, for the most part, I thought did a competent job, although I kept wondering, why was Helena Bonham Carter in this movie? She appears a few times, and she does a competent, fine job, but I think anybody could have played that part. I felt like it didn't show off what she can do as an actress. I guess Johnny Depp, because he's one of the film's producers, I think he probably got her in there, and that's why she's in the movie. But something that I really missed was the friendship chemistry between the Ranger and Tonto, like on the old TV show and movies. Now, granted, I didn't grow up watching The Lone Ranger. I had heard about this character for years. I finally settled down to listen to episodes of the radio show and some TV and some old movies, and what was great was, these two would do anything for each other. Like, for example, if the Lone Ranger was stuck between either helping Tonto or getting stabbed by the villain, he would, save Tonto. He would do that sort of thing. They'd do anything to help each other out. They were a team. They worked very well together. But in this movie, it seemed like the two didn't want to work together, but were forced to. You figured that over time, they'd get to a point where they would understand each other, become close, kind of like Sandra Bullock and Melissa McCarthy in The Heat. They didn't like each other at first, but they kind of came together. And I felt like it didn't quite happen in this movie. The action scenes themselves complemented the film very well, and I think the film does balance the humor and the drama very well. The movie definitely does earn its PG-13 rating, since it does contain some very gory violence and some adult-oriented jokes and gags. I think this would have been much more better for families, parents or grandparents to take their kids or grandkids to if there wasn't so much of that stuff in this movie. The movie also has an older Tonto telling his story to a younger kid, and when they cut to the kid, he kind of asks redundant questions, and I wanted to get back to the story. I thought it was a nice try and a nice experiment, but I wanted to watch the story. I wanted to know what was going on while it was really, getting a good grip on me. But the biggest problem that I had with The Lone Ranger was I thought the film was just a little bit too long. I think the film could have gotten to the point much faster if some excess in the middle had been dropped. There's also a male character in this movie that likes to dress in women's clothing. Okay, but this is 2013. If this movie was made in the 1940s, I'm sure people in the movie theater would have been laughing, but I don't think anybody today would find this kind of funny. The Lone Ranger, in the end, I thought was a mixed bag of entertainment. When it's good, it's good. But when it's not doing well, it's not doing well. When it's fun, but when it's, boring, it's boring. So I think overall the Lone Ranger is a serviceable summer blockbuster, but I think it needed some work in spots. You know, I wanted to see Tonto and the Lone Ranger's friendship, you know, develop more instead of them calling each other idiots and they're calling out on each other's stupidity and stuff. So overall, I'm going to give the Lone Ranger a mild see it in theaters rating. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and open the floor to you guys. What did you think of the Lone Ranger? And go ahead and leave any thoughts. Whether you liked the film, hated it, thought it was okay, post your thoughts. I do appreciate any comments, you know, that's left on the page. If you have any feedback about the video or about the channel, again, post them. I do read everything. So thank you very much for watching this video. And there goes the poster. I'll see you later.